Good afternoon to you guys here on YouTube. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Monday here, September 22nd, 2025. And we've got the threat for the severe weather event both today and tomorrow and into Wednesday. Severe weather outbreak possible even tomorrow across portions of the Arctic. We're also watching what is now Hurricane Gabrielle. We became a hurricane yesterday, now a Category 3, almost a Cat 4 hurricane here this afternoon across portions of the eastern and central Atlantic. That system will stay away from the United States and recurve out to sea. But we're also watching multiple tropical threats out in the Atlantic basin once again into this week here, where we actually could see something come toward the United States this week and maybe even next week. So we're going to talk about that here. The first thing we'll start out with is that satellite imagery here this afternoon. We've got Category 3 Hurricane Gabrielle here spinning just southeast of Bermuda, expected to go on a recurve out to sea here with the troughing up here to the north. It's going to help yank this system out. We've also got both of our tropical waves that we are watching, both looking very, very healthy this afternoon, both expected to become our H name and I name storm by the end of the week here, if not by the middle of the week here. So we'll be watching that. Still looking at a pretty hostile Gulf, but that will open up as we go into the first week of October, where multiple models are signaling some type of tropical system development down here in the Caribbean, which would not be good to see because that water temperatures down here are very, very warm. So we're going to have to watch for that. Also taking a look at Gabrielle here a little bit closer, we'll spit over here to tropical tidbits and we can take a look at Gabrielle. And Gabrielle, once again, a monster storm here just to the southeast of Bermuda. You can see here on the left side of your screen where Bermuda is at, but a very, very symmetrical hurricane undergoing eye wall replacement cycle right now. So we're seeing that new expansion of our storm here. But once again, this will start to move its way northeast and expand out in size as that shear eventually starts to interact with this system. Once again, expecting this to recurve out to sea here. And we can actually take a look at the National Hurricane Center outlook here and take a look at Gabrielle. And Gabrielle right now, the pressure is at 955 millibars, maximum sustained winds at 120 miles per hour, moving north at 10 miles per hour, and eventually will start to move east later on this afternoon. And you can see staying a major hurricane through tomorrow afternoon here and eventually starting to weaken as it approaches out here into the central Atlantic, north central Atlantic. By Wednesday afternoon, we're basically dealing with back to a regular sized hurricane and eventually maybe even a tropical storm or hurricane headed towards Europe by the end of the work week. So this system will be long gone and pretty much non-existent by the end of this coming up weekend here. So we'll keep you guys updated on that and any changes on that. But behind Gabrielle is where problems start to lie. We do have now a high risk for tropical cyclone development behind Gabrielle here in the red shaded area, a 70% chance of tropical cyclone development. This wave more than likely will stay out to sea and recurve just like Gabrielle. Not so much the other way. We are seeing a lot of guidance this afternoon and really over the last couple of days now of this system right here developing and maybe making its way up here towards portions of South Carolina and North Carolina. Some of the Canadian models and the GFS models and the ensembles are signaling a landfall potential even around Cape Cod, South Carolina and North Carolina area here as we go towards the end of the work week here. So I need you guys on the East Coast watching. I need y'all on the Gulf also watching, especially as we go towards next week. I wouldn't be shocked to see these odds go up to 60% or 50% by this afternoon. Right now, we're looking at a 40% chance of tropical cyclone development in the next 70 days here, in the next 7 days here, at the 10% chance in the next 48 hours, and then 20/70 odds on our red one here. And I wouldn't be shocked to see a new area highlighted over here off the coast of Africa and maybe even something down here next week. So it is going to get very, very busy, guys. We will be very busy for the rest of hurricane season here as we see a very favorable pattern, probably one of the most favorable pattern setups out here in the Atlantic Basin all year because we've been in such a dry hurricane season. So we'll keep you guys posted on that with any updates that change later on this afternoon. I do want to take a look at the ensembles here just briefly. And you can see the signal for something out of the Caribbean next week. We're going to have to watch for that. Both the dermatistic runs and the ensembles are starting to pick up on that there. But you can see a lot of disagreement on where both of these tropical systems are going to go. Whether they get close to the East Coast, they could make a landfall, or they could go out to sea here. So a lot of time to still kind of figure out what's going to happen with this. You can see Gabrielle mostly going out to sea here, not expecting any impacts with that. And then a couple more tropical waves behind that here. So we've got a lot of watching to do, and we've got a lot of updates to give out to you guys here, because if you're on the East Coast here from South Carolina, North Carolina, even over here to Florida, you got to be watching these systems, guys, because a slight shift west, a jog north, and anything like that could help these systems potentially come our direction. And it's not off the table that we could see a United States landfall at the end of the week here with one of these systems. So we'll keep you guys updated and posted on that there. European ensembles not as enthusiastic with a closer approach to the Carolinas. We have a couple here developing the system and pulling it further north, but most of the ensembles in the Euro take that red wave, I should say is the word here, out to sea here as well, and then seeing the tropicals potential development behind that system as well here, picking up on that. Now, those are the European ensembles. We take a look at the Google Deep AI models, which have done an amazing job so far hurricane season wise, have honestly done the best. Not something we want to see, and that's the signal down here over the Caribbean going into next week, as well as this week's waves getting very, very close, if not multiple landfall ensembles with this weekend's wave. So like I said, guys, time will tell as these systems jog westward over the next couple of days. We'll get a better idea. Once the National Hurricane Center marks these as invest, we'll get hurricane models in, we'll get a better idea of what's going to happen. And I just need people watching on the East Coast, because the East Coast cannot be ruled out for impacts as we go toward the end of the work week. So that's your tropics update. We'll go ahead and head over to the severe weather conversation. Severe weather today, tomorrow, and Wednesday will be ramping up significantly. We have, I think for the first time in quite some time, a triple barrel slight risk here. We have severe weather expected today across the lower Ohio Valley, all the way up to the northern Ohio Valley, even up towards western Pennsylvania and New York. This is going to be mostly a wind and a hail event. Could see a brief isolated tornado, but mostly looking at wind and hail from Tennessee back up into Buffalo, New York here along that marginal and slight risk. This is where we've got to watch for a low end tornado risk this afternoon across Norfolk, Omaha, Lincoln, up towards potentially Des Moines, Iowa here later on this afternoon. We'll have supercells capable of producing large hail 1 to 2 inches in diameter. We'll have the threat for some 70-mile-per-hour winds, and we'll have the threat for a couple of tornadoes around 5-6 o'clock this afternoon. And then we get our overnight event. This will be our first overnight event in quite some time here, especially in southern Kansas, Oklahoma. The threat for a couple of tornadoes from Garden City down through Tulsa up towards portions of northern Oklahoma City here. Damaging winds up to 70, and that hail threat 1 to 2 inches in diameter. And it looks to be storms will mostly initiate after midnight tonight, as we'll see a cluster of storms or MCS develop later on tonight. So we'll be covering that live here on the YouTube channel as always for you guys. Also got a marginal risk back over here into portions of eastern Arizona and western and central New Mexico. We'll keep you guys updated on that. 2% tornado risk in the green there for portions of western Iowa, eastern Nebraska, southeast Kansas, northern Oklahoma. Wind threat at 15 and 5% for all regions, highlighted for winds up to 70, and that hail threat is now hatched, where we could see large hail in excess of 2 inches in diameter this afternoon for Omaha, Lincoln, Norfolk, as well as back down here in northern Oklahoma and southeast Kansas. So a very, very busy day today. And just if you think that things are busy today, wait till tomorrow. We have our first big time tornado risk. Yes, guys, for eastern Oklahoma, western and central Arkansas, and southern Missouri tomorrow. The Storm Prediction Center even mentioning the possibility for a volatile tornado setup tomorrow afternoon across portions of the Arklatex here, where we already have a level 2 slight risk. Could see a level 3 enhanced risk for the first time in many months issued here in this area. And we're going to have to cover this and watch this very closely tomorrow as well, with a marginal risk outside of that. But tomorrow's hazards, that tornado threat, guys, eastern, southeastern Oklahoma, western and central Arkansas, southern portions of Missouri, Springfield down to Little Rock, down towards Fort Smith, northeast Texas, even possibility for a couple of strong tornadoes on the table for tomorrow. We're going to have to watch out that, but that elevated tornado risk at 2 and 5% for tomorrow, wind threat at 15 and 5%, and that hail threat at 15 and 5. So a big time severe weather event tomorrow looks very possible tomorrow afternoon. We'll take more a look at that in stream today, and as well as in tomorrow's video, but we will be live covering this wall to wall tomorrow, especially for the populations down in that area tomorrow. And then taking a look at the day 3 outlook, a pretty big marginal risk from the lower Ohio Valley back down here into Texas, down into Louisiana, and the lower portions of the southeast here for a wind and hail threat. Wouldn't be shocked to see a slight risk maybe introduced up here as we go through time over the next couple of days. We'll see what happens as SPC updates these. And then taking a look at the day 4 through 8 outlook, not expecting anything too crazy as we go toward the rest of the week. We'll start to see that severe weather episode eventually end toward the end of the work week. So we'll keep you guys updated on that there. Here's the timing for this afternoon. Showers and thunderstorms firing off around 6 to 7 p.m., especially up here in that northern mode. We're going to have to watch right up here first, and then eventually we'll see that front move through. We'll see a capping inversion break. If any storms can become surface-based, a tornado or two will be definitely possible, especially down here in northern Oklahoma, southern portions of Kansas. Maybe even a strong tornado if storms can get surface based, but storms initiating right around that 5 to 6 o'clock time frame. This is mostly going to be an overnight event, and you can see multiple showers and thunderstorms and MCS moving through southern portions of Wichita down here, northern Oklahoma, and then eventually up here we'll see storms pushing through. So the main window looks to be about 8 to 9 o'clock tonight through about 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, especially down here into Kansas and Oklahoma. You want to go to bed with alerts on your phones, know where to go when you get warnings. Just be safe tonight. That's the best way that you can stay ahead of the storm as always here. We'll be live covering that tonight as well for you guys. Here's an update on the Ohio River Valley in the southeast this afternoon as well. Showers and thunderstorms moving through, maybe even a little squall line moving through later on this afternoon across portions of eastern Kentucky and southwestern portions of Ohio. That's going to be around 4 to 5 o'clock this afternoon. Another little batch of thunderstorms across western Kentucky, southern Illinois, Indiana through the evening hours here. And then eventually we'll see those storms move eastward here with mostly just general thunderstorms across through the overnight hours again tonight, with a bountiful and plentiful rainfall, allowing for that drought rainfall busting that we need, which is always good to see. Lots of rainfall falling across the Ohio Ohio Valley. We need it tremendously, and we need it bad. So that's a good thing that we're going to be seeing that. And we'll keep you guys updated. We'll talk more tomorrow about that severe weather risk once we get more data in on it this later on this afternoon. If any updates happen, I'll do a secondary video for you guys as well. So one more thing I want to take a look at here is the tropics. And I typically don't look at the, overall dermatistic runs. We look at ensembles far out, but I want you guys to see something here. This is a pretty big signal we're starting to see with just dermatistic runs in general and with the ensembles. There goes Gabrielle out to sea. You can see our tropical wave here. The GFS for about 4 or 5 runs now has been signaling a tropical storm or a hurricane just off the East Coast by Sunday, Monday coming up here. That's the one that we're watching in the orange shaded area. But then I want you guys to see something down here. As that system moves out, we are going to have a very favorable Caribbean / middle Atlantic basin area that could see a couple of systems as we go into next week. And this is something the GFS ensembles are getting onto here, and the potential for maybe even a tropical system or two, or maybe even a hurricane next week. This is something you're going to see probably posted a lot on social media over the next couple of days because people like to overhype and fearmonger. I don't think this is necessarily what's going to happen over the next couple of days, but I want you guys to understand the Gulf is wide open, the Caribbean is wide open. We could see a couple of tropical waves next week develop as well out near the Caribbean. If we do get something past the Yucatan into the Gulf, you guys know as much as I do, these water temperatures are very, very warm. This would not be something that we want to look forward to seeing as we go into the month of October, and it looks like that potential is going to be there. So Gulf people, East Coast people, Florida people, island people, I need you guys watching. I need you guys ready to go. We'll talk more tomorrow about a global pattern once we get through all this severe weather and all this tropical stuff that's happening. Like I said, not a lot changes other than some cold air that's going to be coming down next week as well, possibly another fall front coming through. We'll talk more about that in tomorrow's video as well. So other than that, guys, stay safe out there, be weather aware, and we'll see y'all in the next one.